Happy Valentine's Week. This is a story of my first crush when I was 8 in 3rd grade. Margaret Hantack. Margaret was the new kid that year. She'd moved to St. Louis with her family, the Hantacks. Because her dad was transferred. He worked for IBM, which was a big deal back then. Computers, wave of the future, very impressive. Excellent pedigree. Margaret had red hair, cut page boy style, by her aunt, who was an actual hairdresser. A little girl who got her hair styled by a grown-up hairdresser at a hair salon, a beauty parlor at the Crestwood Bank building. So sophisticated. Not only that, but she wore a little bow in her hair every day. Molded plastic, but classy. Very classy. She had an entire set of them, a variety of colors to coordinate with her wardrobe. And she wore cat's eye glasses with white frames. Because she said white goes with everything, especially fiery red hair. Fiery, her word. Very descriptive. An indication of exceptional vision and imagination and vocabulary. Anyway, all of a sudden, it was February, and our teacher, Mrs. Conroy, she of the Aquanet bouffant, and sleeveless dresses exposing her matronly upper arms. Mrs. Conroy decreed that as art projects, we all had to make Valentine mailboxes out of shoeboxes and decorate them with construction paper and drawings and stickers and whatever we wanted, and put them on the bookshelf under the windows, and we'd all send Valentine cards each to the other. Her phrase, not mine. That's old school teacher speak for give them to everybody. Thing was, I had 30 kids in my class. 30. So I had to get a big box of little Valentine cards. Actually, my mom bought them at the grocery store because I didn't have any money, but that wasn't the thing. I had to write one to every kid. Now, 30 kids for an 8-year-old, that's like the entire population of New York City. I had to actually sign one to everybody in the class with an ink pen, which meant I could not make a mistake. And yeah, even though this was Valentine's Day, a holiday of love, I did not love all of my classmates. I liked some of them. I had some really good friends in that class that year, but the fact that I had to somehow indicate that I held in my heart even a low degree of affection for Eddie Horan, who had an eternally runny nose and smelled like Vicks VapoRub and snot all year round, yes, I had to send him a Valentine card. Against my will, I gave in to the spirit of the season and Mrs. Conroy. I got hand cramps writing my name over and over to all my classmates on all those cards and licking the envelopes. I was a Valentine factory. But I left the best for last for motivation. I made sure to pick out and set aside the prettiest pink and red little card from the big box of Valentines and address it to Margaret, Hantack, with the fiery red hair. I had also persuaded my mom to buy me a box of those little pastel-colored heart-shaped candies. Sweethearts, you know, the ones that taste like sugar and chalk. And are stenciled with minimalist love poetry like, be mine, nice girl, hint, hint. Guess who? XOXO, which means hugs and kisses. My cousin taught me that. Pretty daring sentiment for a 3rd grader, don't you think? Every one of my classmates would get not only a card, but also a candy heart. I counted them out, and everybody got one apiece randomly because I just didn't have enough patience left in me at that point to assign the perfect sentiment to every kid. So that meant that Greg Bufka ended up with nice girl. But he gave it away to Janie Helderly, so it ended up being okay. And I think they might even be married now. So anyway, the thing is, those Valentine cards were small. So were the envelopes. Too small, I discovered, to put a candy heart inside and seal up the envelope. I had to figure out a solution. And the solution was Scotch tape. Scotch tape is like duct tape to an 8-year-old. Fixes everything. Broken pencils, shoestring tips, cracked sections of Hot Wheel tracks, G.I. Joe's busted hand, all the important stuff. So, every heart got Scotch tape to the front of every envelope, except for Margaret's. This was my one chance to make a big impression, and I was gonna make it awesome. So, Margaret didn't just get one candy heart that tasted like sugar chalk. She got 4. Perfectly arranged in a verse worthy of a beat poet. Be mine, cutie pie, for you. And the big finish, XO. Lyrical. On the big day, which I think was a Thursday, by the time we distributed our cards and opened them, the school day was over, and I had not had 1 second to saunter over and ask Margaret how she liked her card, and her candy, and her poetry. The bell rang and Long Elementary School emptied out as we all ran for our big yellow buses to go home, Valentine mailboxes tucked under our sweaty little arms, each one stuffed to overflowing with tiny cards and the remains of candy. Margaret ran ahead of me and beat me to the bus line. Not a bad thing necessarily, because that means she was all sugared up on my poetry. Margaret jumped on her bus, I climbed the stairs into mine. I looked outside ahead and I found her in bus 18. And she waved to me through the window as her bus rounded the drive and drove away. It was a tender wave, it seemed to me, fraught with subtle passion, at the very least a hard case of the likes, but sad to say, that was the last time we had any kind of connection that might even be labeled remotely likes-ish. I'd given my best, coolest Valentine in the box, my personal signature with an ink pen, spelling M-A-R-G-A-R-E-T perfectly without even having to ask my mom, and Valentine candy heart poetry. But she barely noticed. She consumed the spoils of love and went on her way. By the next year, she was in a different class with a different teacher down a different hallway. She had an earlier recess, a later lunchtime. I don't know what Margaret's doing now or where she's living. Probably she found a nice guy, maybe Greg Buffka, I don't know, got married, whatever. But no matter what, Margaret will always be my first. The first time I was in love, or tried to be. At the very least, I was intrigued by her, a girl. I gave her a Valentine, some sweet poetry, and she liked the candy as far as I could tell. Not a bad start. You get older, things get more complicated. Hormones, emotional baggage, e-harmony. But you know, now that I think about it, there was one other time I saw her. Our senior year in high school when she gave me her yearbook picture. It was nice to see her, but, I didn't think much of it because she probably gave a lot of guys her picture. She was on the pom-pom squad, after all. She wrote something on the back of the photo. Stay as sweet as you are, always. XOXO. Stay as sweet